Hello, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. It's just you and me hanging out today. No guest. Most of our episodes feature guests who have used our content to build beautiful businesses. We love interviewing them and sharing their great stories of how they overcame the challenges and worked the systems that we teach here and built beautiful businesses. That's most episodes. And if you haven't heard those episodes before, I strongly encourage you, scroll back in time. If this is one of the first episodes you've ever heard, you need to scroll back in time and listen to 5, 10, 20, 50. We've got hundreds of those episodes. But today, it's just you and me. And if you're newer around here, you're really going to appreciate and enjoy this episode. If you've been around a while, this is a good recap, kind of a reset episode of where are things at right now? What are the opportunities? What's the opportunity landscape look like right now in regards to e-commerce? We got Amazon, of course. We love Amazon. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Why we continue to love Amazon even more than we ever have right now. Yes, we love it more right now than we ever have. And I'll tell you the reasons why. But also Walmart is emerging. eBay is slow and steady back there in third place in my book, constantly an opportunity. I've been selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace lately. There are so many ways to make great money online right now, selling physical products. And that's just one of numerous strategies that you hear being shared and talked about in our community. But we start everybody at the same place. The title of this podcast episode today is, Where Should I Start? Something along those lines. With the current landscape of all the changes that are happening right now, where should I start? We've been given the same answer around here for a very long time, for several years now. You should start where the customers are shopping. That's where you should start. And you should start by meeting the needs of the customers that are most unmet. So where are all the customers hanging out? And what is their biggest unmet need? That's where you should go. That's where you should start. That's where you should wade in nice and slow and begin to test and prove out the business models we teach here. So where are the customers hanging out? 50%, almost, not quite, but almost 50% of all transactions online every day in the United States are happening on one website, Amazon.com. They get half the action almost. That's incredible. If you add up second, third, fourth, fifth place combined, they don't come close to what Amazon does every single day online. That's where the customers are. Now, what's the biggest unmet need among those customers? It's the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses. We demonstrate this all the time. You can hear, again, dozens of recent episodes, hundreds of episodes where we've interviewed the students from this community who have used our content and resources. And I'll dive more into specifically where exactly you should start in those resources. Because remember, we teach a lot of different strategies around here. So where should you start? What exact first step, second step, third step should you take? And I'll cover that as we get into this, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. You and I are on the exact same page as to where the lowest hanging fruit opportunities are in e-commerce. Having a business that you can run from home, you can take your business with you in your pocket, go anywhere in the world, continue running your business. That's what we teach here. Again, we've been doing it for 22 years. With approximately 60 coaches on our team currently. We've coached almost 10,000 people on these processes. We've interviewed hundreds of them on the show. This is what we've learned. The reason I made this episode today is there's been a lot of changes lately, a lot of little things happening and people talking in forums online and discussing, Amazon's changed, this new rule, this new policy, these things have changed. I want to step back and take a big picture view of the opportunity and explain that from a big picture standpoint, the future's never looked brighter for those of us who knew how to sell physical products online, which is what we believe to be the lowest hanging fruit opportunity, business opportunity of our lifetimes. Lowest risk, lowest investment required. You can earn money while you're learning. You don't have to spend a bunch of money and hope it works out someday. The lowest learning curve possibly available to you is this business model where you can be spending a little bit of money on inventory, using the strategies that we show you, knowing that in the vast majority of cases, your worst case scenario is you're going to get your money back and sell at a break-even price, but you're learning as you go. So you're earning as you learn with the highest odds possible of building a robust, successful business. This business model, selling on Amazon, helping fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses, is still the lowest hanging fruit, foundational opportunity available to anyone who wants to build a legitimate business online. Now, do we see it as the best business model? No, that's not what I'm saying. It's the best model for someone who's new, who's never sold anything before, who's never built a business before. It's definitely the best model for that person. But if you've already got a lot of momentum and some good success and some advantages in another arena, I'm not saying turn off everything else you're doing and come do this instead. Of course not. We love helping people who have maybe been frustrated, burned, never had success before. They've tried some other things. Nothing seems to work. What we have in our community is the Repins model. Perfect for you. That's helping Amazon fill the underserved shelf space at their hundreds of warehouses. Everyday, boring items that you can easily source from retailers, from online websites, legitimate authorized sellers only. You don't want to go to Bob's bargain bin basement and buy up 50 units of something with dust on it and think you're going to throw it on Amazon. Don't do that. Maybe throw that on Facebook Marketplace or eBay, and it's going to sell a whole lot slower. Trust me, nowhere near as many people shop there. You can look at the statistics on Google. You want to get products that you can sell on Amazon because the eyeballs are there. And you want to sell authorized, legitimate products, boring, everyday household items. There's a billion different ASINs on Amazon, millions of them. You're allowed to sell against as a third-party seller. You can become a reseller and you can buy from one place, move it to a place of higher perceived or actual value on Amazon. That's the methods we teach here. And what's exciting is we've been able to identify, this is one of the new seller strategies that we love. We've been able to identify and show you how to dive into Amazon's database and find millions of underserved listings, meaning there's just not enough inventory on Amazon's hundreds of shelves across the United States to serve the demand for that product for people who want it fast and who are willing to pay a little more than they would otherwise if they drove around to 8 Walmarts. That's the opportunity. And as evidence that it works, again, hundreds of interviews with students you can hear on this show who are doing that model. Now, am I saying there's no risk and this goes perfectly for absolutely everybody? Here's a news flash for you. If you ever run into a business model and the person teaching it says there's no risk and everyone who does it, it works perfectly for them beautifully every single time, that doesn't exist. That person is lying to you. I'm not going to change the word that I use there. They are lying to you. Business always has been and always will be about managing risk. It's about putting a little bit of investment in, doing the work required, hopefully pulling a bigger chunk of money out once the process has run its course, and repeating. There's always risk in the middle. Every single time. Investing is risk, business is risk, life is risk, relationships are risk, working out is risk, being healthy is risk. You could overdo it, right? Everything worth having in life involves a degree of risk. Business is no exception. But again, we've been able to identify the lowest risk, lowest learning curve, lowest cost, highest odds of success business model. That's what we teach here, and we're really, really good at it. But Amazon does have changes. They do have challenges. We've seen at least, we were adding up, the leadership team, especially my right-hand man, Nate, who runs our coaching operation, we were adding up at least 100 major changes that we've seen back when it was just eBay. Now we've been doing Amazon for the past 14 years or so, 100 times where someone out there writes the article and says, oh no, the sky is falling. Everything is unlike it used to be, and the opportunity is dead. Every time you read that kind of news or you see that kind of post, I need you to think this to yourself. Are the shoppers suddenly not shopping? Did the shoppers stop shopping? Did the shoppers decide, you know what? We're done with this whole internet thing. We're going to turn off Amazon. We're going to turn off the internet. We're going to shut our laptops and turn off our smartphones, and we're just going to drive to the store for everything we need. No, that didn't happen. But here's what might shock you if you've never heard me talk about this before, if you've never seen the statistics before. Only about 20% of all retail activity is online. The other 80% of retail activity in the United States is traditional brick and mortar, get in your car, go to the store. But that 20% is growing rapidly. Not too long ago, it was just 5 and then 10%. Now it's 20. Soon it'll be 25, 30, 35% of all retail spending. Hundreds of billions, probably $1 trillion or more of new spending online. It's coming. And as of right now, half that money is going to be spent approximately on Amazon. That's where you want to be. That's the skill set you need. Do you have to stick with our basic seller model? Absolutely not. And I'm going to tell you where to start. I haven't forgotten the whole point of today's episode. Where should I start? With all the changes at Amazon, where should I start? I'm building my case for where you should start right now and where you should focus if what you're doing right now isn't working. So, Amazon, basic opportunity, replints, filling the shelves of the hundreds of warehouses, the underserved shelf space, millions of ASINs that you could be selling against, millions of listings you could be selling against. That's what we teach you. But once you've got those basic skills, then you can go into any number of other great opportunities from there. But you need to learn the basics first. Some people stay right there and build multiple 7-figure businesses right there, buying retail, online, maybe some wholesale mixed in. I interviewed not too long ago on this show someone with a multiple 7-figure business and a small team who's doing just that. He doesn't do any private label. He doesn't do any consulting. He hasn't built his own brand in any way. He's just buying stuff, selling it on Amazon, serving the underserved ASINs. Okay, so where should you start? Let's transition into that portion of our show. I've convinced you that the starting point should be the same unless you have a really, really good reason to start somewhere besides where we're telling you. For example, you're already making $30,000 a month on some strategy and you just need someone to help tweak the system. Okay, you don't want to be doing what I'm talking about right now. But if you've never made significant money online and you want to build a legitimate system, here's where you start. You start with the Proven Amazon course. That's been the course behind the hundreds of success stories that you've heard people interviewed on this show. That's the success behind the 2,000 plus posts in our Facebook group where people are talking about the very real business and the very real results that they've built. I can hear some resistance, but Jim, I heard this guy say that this changed and this is different now and Amazon needs this instead of that. When you sign up, it's a little harder now and they send you a postcard and they didn't used to do that and all these little changes. No, let those thoughts drift out of your head and just keep in mind the big picture. Half of all shopping online today was on Amazon. Half of it. And the numbers are only going to get bigger in the future. E-commerce is only going to get bigger. And this is the lowest hanging fruit entry point. Proven Amazon course. What makes it special? Once you get inside, we've got a new seller roadmap. And it steps you through teaching you this model. We call it the replens or the replenishable model. We're going to step you through how to find inventory, how to prep it, how to find good ASINs to list against, good listings on Amazon, how to find them and sell product against it. You're not setting up new products on Amazon. You're not sending in new stuff. You don't have to invent anything. You're just helping fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses. That's the introductory model. Very profitable model if you do it according to the system. If you try to guess and watch a few videos here and a few videos on YouTube there and follow a couple experts and a couple guys who have nice TikTok videos with piles of cash and a nice car, you're going to struggle with this model. There are nuances to it. There are steps to follow. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble. Actually, here's a post I want you to go check out. If you don't believe me, how much trouble you can kind of just accidentally stumble into if you kind of try to run forward fast with a blindfold on into this business model. Go to silentjim.com/mistakes. silentjim.com/mistakes. It's a list of 15 or 20 different mistakes that you probably will make that could arguably end your Amazon selling career because you were ignorant of how Amazon works. You want to avoid everything on that list. You want to go check out that article. It's not long, but it lists them out and explains. And there's actually a podcast episode linked to in that article where you can go through and listen as I explain why these things are also important. So it's important for you to get instruction. Don't guess your way through. So you get the Proven Amazon course. You start going through the roadmap. the new seller roadmap. You click on get started, you see the roadmap, you start going through it. We step you through, check the boxes, a lot of one-time activities that you have to do. That's where you start. Having that foundation now, you can build upon it. You may not do the Repins model very long, helping Amazon fill its underserved shelf space at its hundreds of warehouses. You may not do that model very long. You may be more interested in some other models, but the skills you're going to learn and the tools you're going to use, there's only a couple tools you're going to need. We'll teach you how to use them, the bare basics. As with any software, there's 1,000 different features, and you're going to use 4 or 5 of those features and start to understand how to use these tools so you can start to get proof of concept. You're going to be earning money while you learn. Your total investment at this point is a few $100s, including the inventory you've purchased, but you've started to learn the process. And from there, you get to decide how far and how fast you want to go. If you want to go further faster, get a coach. We'd love to coach you. Maybe you don't even have the proven Amazon course yet. Maybe you haven't even read the Silent Sales Machine book. I'll talk to you more about that in just a moment. If you're a skeptic, I would encourage you to go that route. Maybe you haven't done any of those things. You just want to go further faster. Or maybe you've got some proof of concept. You've sold a few things and you're thinking to yourself, man, there might be something here. I'd strongly encourage you, have a free consultation with our team. Let us map out your trajectory with you so we can tell you what the next steps in your journey will be based on how much margin you have in your life. Do you have financial margin, time margin? How committed are you to the process? Do you have relational margin? How stressful is your day-to-day life right now? Does your spouse think you're crazy for trying to build another business? Are they all on board? Those things matter. But if you're positioned and ready to go further faster, man, we would love to have a conversation with you about hooking you up with one of the accomplished leaders in our community who has built a beautiful business and currently runs a beautiful business based on these models, who can help you go further, faster, and move through this process much more quickly so you're ramping up far faster. It's a great investment to work one-on-one with them. Or maybe you just need some of our free or low-cost resources. In any case, we'd love to have that conversation with you, and there's a great way to do it. Go to silentjim.com/book-a-call. Squeeze those 3 words all together. Book a call. silentjim.com/book-a-call. Schedule a call. Let's do it. There's also a number on there. You can text us anytime. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Get on that page, text us, reach out to us. So we're going through, where do I start? That's the question we're hitting today. So to recap, proven Amazon course. I said, you're going to get in there, you're going to look at the new seller roadmap. Because once you're in the proven Amazon course, it's a library. It's kind of like getting into Netflix. Where do I start on Netflix? Well, let's imagine Netflix had a couple videos that you had to watch that would kind of unlock and open up the possibilities of everything else they had to offer. That's the proven Amazon course. You get in, you watch the new seller content, the new seller roadmap, you go through the steps, and then the whole rest of the library is open to you. You may stick with Repins for a while. You may do it for years. Or you may get the basics, learn the basics, and then start jumping into wholesale. Or maybe start trying to build your own brand. Or maybe you start doing some coaching and consulting, helping other companies and brands get onto Amazon. Beautiful business model. You don't need that many qualifications to start talking to brands and helping them with their Amazon presence. You just need to know the basics. Okay, so I've talked to people who are ready to go, who know, like, and trust us, who believe that we have something here that's viable. But what if you're not quite there yet? I want to give you a resource, and this is where you need to start. If you're a skeptic and you don't want to spend a penny, you just want the maximum value from our free resources, here's a couple things I want you to do. First, scroll back in time on this podcast. Listen to the people. Listen to how they talk about this community and the opportunities here. Listen to 5, 10, 20, 30 episodes. Then make a decision if this is something you want to be a part of. You're going to hear some very transparent stories. So that's homework number 1. Number 2, if you don't mind the sound of my voice, I'm not driving you crazy yet. You don't mind listening to me talk a little bit more and dive into the opportunities that are available right now online, and then diving a little into, based on where you're positioned, what makes the most sense for you. Because Amazon may not be the right thing for everyone. There may be some other stuff going on. I've been doing e-commerce for 22 years. I've been surrounded by people way smarter than me who have spoken into this business and helped build a very robust, again, this is the longest running e-commerce coaching program in the world, with thousands of stories of people talking about this community and the businesses they built in all different manner of strategies being used. This book that I'm about to give you for free, I'll give you the link in just a moment, talks through the lessons, the timeless things, the places you shouldn't start, the pitfalls you'll fall into unless you have a great guide, the questions you need to ask yourself about what you're trying to accomplish and what's realistic and what isn't. What are the real business opportunities based on the lessons learned, again, in 22 plus years of doing e-commerce as the only income that my family and I have enjoyed, our family of 7. That was our only income. We homeschooled our kids. My wife didn't work. She stayed home. It was fantastic. She worked harder than I did. She didn't have a job, I should say. She definitely worked. Homeschooling kids is no joke, right? But that was the only income we had, was our e-commerce adventure. So this book is the lessons learned based on the great people I've worked with and how they've spoken into our life and shaped the opportunities that are available, what's viable, what isn't. I've even got a list of the things you absolutely have to avoid. And it's one of the favorite chapters, the things you just have to avoid. And then I explain why, some of those pitfalls you're going to fall into. So the book can be found at silentjim.com/free11. That's the number 11. silentjim.com/free11. So if you're new, skeptical, you don't want to spend a penny, go listen to that book. I just gave it to you completely free. That book has sold over 1 million copies. On Amazon, there's thousands of 5-star reviews for an older version. I'm giving you the new version completely free. This is version 11. That's why it's called Free 11. It's the link. It's version 11 of that book. I've updated it 11 times. We're giving it away absolutely free. Hope it serves you well. Listen to it in the next few days and see if this is the kind of community you want to be a part of, and see if the things I'm sharing make sense for you. Okay, so let's recap. First, why did I make this episode? Next, where should you start? And third, what's your homework? Okay, why did I make this episode? Because especially at fourth quarter every year, especially as we approach the end of the year every year, Amazon makes big changes. Why? Do they want to freak everybody out, all the sellers, and send them scared and running around in circles? No. They want a clean catalog. They want the busiest shopping website in the world, the one that's going to sell half of all transactions in the United States. They want it to work. And they're willing to shove aside a few decent people to make sure they've only got the best of the best products and sellers selling the most popular products. And then they'll let everybody else back in after the fourth quarter is over. Come January, Amazon kind of exhales and they kind of just calm down a little bit and everything goes back to normal. But as fourth quarter approaches, as Christmas approaches, Amazon does do a little freak out. And they'll throw a little bit of baby out with the bathwater on accident quite often, and then they'll typically correct everything. It happens every year, and you may be hearing some of those stories. The opportunity is not only as good as it's ever been, it's better than it's ever been now, and it's going to be better in the coming weeks and months. I'm fully convinced Amazon has a lot of money to throw at these challenges. They need and want good sellers to help fill the underserved shelf space at their hundreds of warehouses. They need and want more brands, more sellers. They're actively recruiting more sellers. They want, if people sometimes say, well, Jim, I think Amazon's trying to get rid of third-party sellers. What do you think? I'm like, I think that's crazy. I have evidence that it's crazy, because if Amazon wanted to get rid of third-party sellers, all they'd have to do is step 1, turn off the ability for new sellers to sign up to sell. That's not hard to do. Just pull that page off the website, right? Okay, no new sellers. All right, step 2, you want to get rid of sellers? Charge, say, $20 per transaction for everything sold on Amazon above and beyond all the other fees, or maybe $50 per transaction. No third-party sellers are on the planet. 2 weeks from now, everyone's business is done. If Amazon wanted to get rid of third-party sellers, they would. What's actually happening is Amazon is trying to navigate the we have everything store concept that they've been doing really well at, from my perspective. I mean, most things that you need, you can hop on there and find, in many cases, 2 to 4 hour delivery on your front porch. I mean, they're pretty good at what they do, and they need sellers filling those shelves. But what they don't need is illegitimate inventory, stuff that might have been counterfeited, stuff that might have been shoplifted and ended up at Bob's Discount Barn warehouse, and someone went and bought a pallet of it and sent it in as new inventory. They don't want that. So they built systems in there, and those systems sometimes catch good people, good sellers, and 99% of the time temporarily remove their ability to sell before investigating and then letting them back on. And those systems churn slowly sometimes, and those systems get the wrong people sometimes. But the concept of selling on Amazon, the opportunity, it's getting nothing but bigger. The future is nothing but brighter. The opportunity is massive, and now is absolutely a fantastic time. There's never been a better time. There's only two good times. I've told people there's two good times to launch an Amazon business. One of them was 12, 14 years ago. The other one is right now, today. Those are the two best times. Get started. Never been a better time. So I made this video because Amazon is making some changes. There's a little uncomfortableness in the air. Happens every year. We've seen it 12, 14 years in a row now, right? So where can you get started? I've gone over that. If you're skeptical, get the Silent Sales Machine book. Absolutely free. Check it out. Listen to some more podcast episodes. You ready to get started? It's going to cost you about $39 a month for the Proven Amazon course. It's going to cost you about $20 a month for the software that we're going to tell you about that you're going to need. You can add more software later, but there's only one you're going to need. And we'll talk about it in the roadmap. We show you how to use it, how to use a handful of features to get you going in the right direction. And then about $39 a month for your pro seller account on Amazon. You're going to want to go with the pro seller account. So once you've got those monthly expenses, a few $100s for inventory to test and prove out the concept, you're off to the races. You're getting proof of concept, deciding if this business is for you or not. Very small commitment on your part to get this ball rolling. So that's where you start, the Proven Amazon course. If you want to go further, faster, give us a call. Let's hop on the phone. Let's talk about some of our other resources, maybe coaching. There's one last thing I want to challenge you on and inform you about today before I let you go. And that is our Kickstart program. I haven't talked about it at all yet today. I'll stick a link to it in the show notes. But what we've discovered is some people like to be in a small group setting, going through the initial setup phases of building an Amazon business, rather than doing it on your own and logging on and kind of being in a lonely setting and you look around and your spouse is busy and your kids don't care, like trying to go through this process. What if you did it with a small group of other who are new under the watchful eye of one of the great coaches on our team? We'll help you get set up. There's a lot of little one-time boxes you have to check. These little, we call them the molehills that feel like mountains when you're new. How do I set up my printer, right? All these little things that just kind of clog up your brain and make you frustrated and wonder if you even want to do this. Well, if we can get you through those and actually sending in inventory and starting to see the results, we've learned that those people go on to succeed far greater numbers. The people who go through our Kickstart program. It's a one-time cost, under $100, and you're going to get 4 sessions with live sessions that are recorded if you miss them. You can interact anytime. It's a group that you can interact with anytime. Your coach is going to be helping you through this entire time. It's just 4 weeks, and it just gets you to that first shipment. It's not everything you're ever going to need. We can't possibly do that in 4 one-hour sessions, but we can get you set up and understanding how to find that first product and send in that first shipment. After that, now you're going to be able to get proof of concept, get your confidence up. So you can go to silentjim.com/kickstart to get more information on that. Get into one of our next Kickstart groups. They start every week or two. There's going to be somewhere between 5 and 20 people in your group, most likely. And like I said, a coach is going to jump in there with you, answer your questions, help you get through the setup phase. Then once you're through that setup phase, now you're ready to really dive in and start using these tools. Step on the gas at the speed you're comfortable with. Maybe get a coach. Maybe dive further into the Proven Amazon course more aggressively, but you're going to be ready to start launching into some of the many strategies we have for helping you fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses. That's the initial business model. That's where you start. I made this video today to encourage you, hey, you're hearing some winds of change with Amazon. Those winds have been blowing for over a decade. Things are always changing, but the thing that's drifting in a great direction is shoppers are shopping in greater numbers than ever, spending more money than they ever have before. We'll set new records this Christmas season, just like we have the past 12, 15 Christmases in a row. The opportunity is going to be massive in 2025. We believe in this model. The reason we teach it is because we see it as the lowest hanging fruit model of our lifetimes. Lowest risk, lowest money investment required, lowest learning curve, highest odds of success. We call it the low, 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 high model around here. Hope you can continue to participate in our community. We'd love to see you in our Facebook group. If you haven't joined, there's a link at silentjim.com. Jump in there. 78,000 of us. We just passed 78,000 people. And, if you didn't realize this, we only let in about somewhere between a third to a half of the people who ask to come into the group because we look at the profile. We look at how they answer the questions that we ask them. Is this a spammer? Is this a clown? Is this someone with an agenda, or they're trying to sell some, useless software to our entire community? Is this someone that wants to just hop up on stage in the spotlight with a microphone and yell really loud, buy my stuff, before we kick them out? We kick them out before they even get in the group. So this is 78,000 people who, if they are a spammer, they're staying really quiet, because as soon as you spam, you're gone. Everyone else is there to build a legitimate, beautiful business, and they are encouraging each other along that same path. We do not see you as a competitor in our group. We see you as a fellow business building warrior, and we want to work with you. We want to learn from you. We want to help you on your journey. That's what we've been doing here, longer than anyone else out there. That's what we do here. We've got the evidence. Again, you don't have to believe me. Scroll back in time on this podcast. We're coming up on 1,000 episodes, and the vast majority of them are interviews with people like what I just described. All right, I'm going to wrap this one up. You know where to start now. I've given you some good instructions. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We'd love to help. Great way to do that. Get on our calendar. silentjimdotcom/book a call. Let's have a half-hour consultation and talk about your business and what you're trying to accomplish. We'd love to be here to serve you. God bless you, business building warrior. We'll have another great episode for you very soon. Talk to you then.